welcome to Bonita's Kitchen, and thank you for joining us. What I'm going to be making today is barbecued baked cod. This barbecued baked cod is one of our traditional meals here in Newfoundland, and one that was done years ago because they made their own barbecue sauce. They never bought it at the store, and that's so wonderful about this. And there's a little twist to it. It's got a bit of savory. You can use summer savory, but here in Newfoundland we use just the savory. So right now, let's get started on showing you how to make this delicious meal. Okay, so this is what we would need to make this delicious barbecued baked cod. So I got 4 fillets here of cod. You can use anywhere from 4 to 6. I'm going to make this for a meal for 4 people. Got a large onion chopped up, a tablespoonful of Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoonfuls of brown sugar, a 1/4 cup of white vinegar, 3/4 cup of ketchup. We got savory. I'm going to be using about a half a teaspoonful. We're going to have oil and butter for frying up our onion, salt and pepper for seasoning the cod, and as well frying with the onions, and a half a teaspoonful of onion powder. So let's get started. Okay, so this is wonderful. We'll get started now. I'm going to season my cod. This is fresh cod and deboned. Of course, you don't need no bones in it. I got my pot starting to warm there. So basically, you're going to season both sides. You're going to put a little bit of salt and pepper. I got about half a teaspoonful for doing all of it. If you want a little bit more, you go right ahead. So just a little bit of salt and pepper and a little bit of onion powder. So when I put it into my pan, I'll tip it over and I'll season the other side. So what I'm going to do now is get starting to fry up our onions. So pretty much all we're going to do here now is melt our tablespoonful of butter and a tablespoonful of oil in our frying pan. And we're going to put a large onion that's chopped. Not finely chopped, but if you want it smaller than that, you can. And pretty much all we're going to do here is let this start to brown off just a little. So we're going to part cook our onions. I'm going to put some pepper over it first. I'm not going to put no salt because I don't want to pull out any moisture out of my onions yet. I'll do that right at the end. So just a little bit of pepper. Every time we cook onions here, we get excited. It just smells absolutely amazing. You don't have to put anything else in it, only just fry up onions. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use my cast iron frying pan today for baking this barbecue cod meal. Delicious. But I've had many questions about how you would look after your cast iron frying pan, what you would do after you finish using it, and so on. This frying pan, and if you've seen most of my shows, you'd see that I've told you that this frying pan is belonged to my dad, and it's probably 60 years old, maybe older. He took quite good care of it, and of course it's my mission to keep it looking as good. But every time I use this frying pan, and I know this is not a part of this episode, but I want to share it with you. Every time I use it, I just clean it on the top. I don't bother to clean the bottom because the bottom is not dirty or being used. And then after, I dry it in my oven. I'll put the oven on warm, let it totally dry, and then put a little bit of oil on it and a sheet of parchment paper. Store it in my cupboard till I'm ready to use it again. So that's your first tip of how to take care of your cast iron frying pan. So now what we're going to do is take the cod. You could use any type of fish that you want. Today this is our traditional meal, and cod is our traditional fish. So you just take it. The side that I seasoned would go down at the bottom, and the other side up, and I'll season that one again. But I'm going to just put it directly into my cast iron frying pan. So what we're going to do now is season the other side of our cod. And again, if you wanted to use a different type of fish, a white fish or any type, I'm not going to name them all off because whatever province or state, wherever you're living, you'll know what type is there. So right now I'm putting a little bit of sea salt, just a sprinkle, and the rest I'm going to use in with my onions. So that's all we need to do with seasoning up the cod. Now what I'm going to do is go back to our onions and finish seasoning them. Okay, so I'm going to finish putting in the onion seasoning, the rest of my pepper, and this time I'm going to be adding in the sea salt, and that's about, like I was saying, about a half a teaspoon all in total of pepper and salt and your onion seasoning. Now I'm going to be putting in a half a teaspoonful of this savory. Just put it right over the top of our onion and let that fill the mouth. Okay, so our onions is coming along amazing and it smells so good. Touching base a little bit now on our homemade barbecue sauce that we're going to make. Of course, barbecue sauce wasn't originated in Newfoundland, and we all know that. But years ago, nobody had access to go out and buy barbecue sauce in a grocery store because there was no grocery stores in the little communities. You had to go in the bigger cities. But for us here, just using 4 simple ingredients would make the same thing as what you would buy in the store. Now you can kick it up a notch and add more flavors and whatnot. But the 4 basic flavors: ketchup, white vinegar, everybody owned, brown sugar, we add for baking and for cooking, and Worcestershire sauce or soya sauce. I know I'm pronouncing the Worcestershire, but that's as close as it gets. Now we're going to put all of these ingredients into our frying pan and then pour it over the top of the cod. We'll get started on that. So what I'm going to do here now, we're going to put the 4 ingredients into the pot. The ketchup I got here, I got a little bit of oil in the container, so it'll come out a little bit easier. It'll just pour out. So that's 3/4 of a cup of ketchup. We got a 1/4 cup of white vinegar, and of course the tablespoonful of Worcestershire sauce, and the 2 tablespoonfuls of brown sugar. And what we're going to do now is mix this on through with our onions. And getting back to the barbecue sauce, we didn't barbecue outside. We barbecued always in the oven or on top of the stove. So if you made this barbecue sauce, everybody or most everybody owned a wood stove, or you cooked on an open flame if you were working outside.
Yeah.
But
we didn't have too many barbecues.
No barbecues. If maybe homemade ones probably might have been, but not store-bought ones for sure. So that's all we need to do with that. So now what we're going to do is take this delicious sauce, onions, and pour it over our cod. Okay, so before I put it over onto my cod, I want to, of course, add in one more ingredient, just because with it baking into the oven, I don't want for it to burn or to dry out any. It's going to be a 1/3 of a cup of water. And what I want to do now is taste it to make sure that I'm satisfied with the amount of seasonings that's put in there. Of course, the flavor of the savory and the salt, pepper. Delicious.
Can I have a taste?
Well, I'm going to have to grab you a spoon. Hang on now.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get you a little taste of that. So this is just the sauce right now, so I'll pass that to you, Raymond. And then what we're going to do, we're going to... wait till he tells. It's good? Right on.
That's as good as it gets.
Okay, perfect. So you enjoyed that. So what we're going to do now is take our sauce and pour it all over our cod. So we're just going to pour all this sauce equally over the cod. Now, with this meal, you can serve it with whatever side dish you want. I'm going to have potatoes and carrot today because that was a big deal. Mostly lots of vegetables here in Newfoundland. And we didn't have many rice meals, but even though you can have this with rice as well if you want to have it. So you just put it all equally over like this. And what I'm going to do now is cover it. And I'll tell you what's next. Okay, so when I said that we'll cover our cast iron frying pan now, if you're using a casserole dish, you might have the proper lid that goes over it that you can bake in the oven with it, or you could use foil wrap or whatever. You could put this meal in a roaster and have a roaster cover. So there's no particular way of cooking it. I want to cook it this way because I love using this cast iron frying pan. You can also cook on the barbecue with this cast iron pan. So, you know, this is traditional for us. We bake it in the oven. But if you're making this here now in this beautiful weather, you could take it and put it on your barbecue and let it cook. So we're pretty much just going to cover it, seal it down, so none of the barbecue sauce is going to pop out all over your oven. And then I'm going to tell you what you're going to do next. Okay, so what we're going to do now is preheat our oven to 350 degrees. Then you're going to set the timer for 30 minutes. You put your cast iron pan or roaster, whatever you're using, in your oven, center rack in the middle, and then when the buzzer goes off, you could take it out, it's ready to go. Or if you want to check it part ways between, if you only want it tender, whatever you want to do. Or you could turn the heat off, leave it in there until you're ready to serve it. But right now, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to turn on my oven and get that going. Okay, so I'm going to put it in my oven, center rack in the middle, and I'm going to set my timer for 30 minutes. Meet me back here when it's baked, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like. Hi, and welcome back to Bonita's Kitchen, and thank you for joining us. Our barbecued baked cod is done. I'm going to go get it out of the oven there now and show you what it looks like. Okay, I always make fun at how heavy my cast iron pot is. I always say it's about 100 pounds, and certainly when you got something in it is probably even heavier. This is blazing, but just look. Absolutely delicious. I can't wait to show you what it looks like. Just look how delicious our barbecued baked cod is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull in my serving plate, and then I'm going to pour this out into that. Just look how nice that looks. So we're just going to dump it all out into our serving plate. So this is a serving for 4, but if you're like us here, it's hard to not have more than one piece of cod. So I'm going to show you there. Absolutely delicious. I hope I'm making your mouth water here now, because I know I'm making Raymond's mouth water. So that's after battle there now. So I'm going to put a little bit of the vegetables here on my plate. So I'm going to have a little serving here. And then I'm going to take a piece of the fish. I got bread there because here in Newfoundland, homemade bread is a big deal. I'm sure anywhere it is, but we love homemade bread just to dip over all of this goodness. So I want some of the onions and some of that delicious homemade barbecue sauce.
Can I have barbecue sauce over my bread, please?
Over the bread and all?
Yes, more than that.
So there it is, your barbecue baked cod. And now what I'm going to do is have a little taste and tell you what it tastes like. Amazing smell coming up around my nose. I can't wait to have a little taste. So what I'll do is have a little taste of the cod that's baked in this delicious homemade barbecue sauce. So tender, and the flavors of the homemade barbecue sauce with the onions, and I'm gonna have a little taste of my homemade bread dipped in the barbecue sauce. So good, delicious. This is such a delicious meal for any occasion, and certainly one if you're expecting company from family from away or friends, and you want to impress them with a delicious homemade meal, and like you said, served with potatoes or rice, it doesn't matter. If you enjoyed this meal and you want to see more of our traditional, non-traditional, viewers' requests and some of my choices, go to our website, www.bonitaskitchen.com, or visit us on our YouTube channel. Subscribe, it's free. You can also visit us on our Facebook page and leave us a message on either one of them. We would love to hear from you. We also enjoy getting the viewers' requests, and some of those recipes are absolutely delicious, and of course we're trying to get to each and every one of them, so thank you for that as well. So before you go, I want to give you one last tip on how to care for your cast iron frying pan. Right now I've washed it. I've put it in my oven after I've taken this delicious barbecued baked cod meal out. I washed it and I put it back in the oven to dry. Now it's totally dry. I'm going to drizzle a little tiny bit of oil on it. It doesn't have to be vegetable oil or olive oil or anything. Whatever oil you got available. And then you just take a paper towel and just brush it all around the inside, and this is what it's going to look like. You got your oil on your cast iron pan, let it come to room temperature, store it with a bit of parchment paper in your cupboard, and it will be perfect the next time you pull it out. So thank you once again for joining us here on Bonita's Kitchen. From our kitchen to yours, you have a wonderful day.